YouTube channel if you're new here. Hi, my name's Megan, and in today's video I just wanted to talk about something that you could very well relate to, and this could actually help. It's just like my little season that I'm walking with the Lord, and I'm finding a lot of comfort, and at first I didn't know what it meant at all. But the more I kept seeing this certain bird that we will get into, the more I started being like, Lord, what are you trying to show me or tell me? Because this is weird. This is not normal, and I need to figure this out. And I figured it out, and I just wanted to like share it with you guys. I feel like I should, because maybe you guys are walking through the same season. So I know I really haven't been posting, and I know you guys like know that I struggle greatly with mental health, and I pretty sure I talked about my time back in 2021, the fall of 2021, of how it was like the most horrible, lowest time I've ever been in my like entire life. And didn't think I could get any lower until last, I guess, November, December, when it got really bad. It started in October, but it got really, really bad in November, and then really, really bad in December. And I am just so lucky to make it out alive, because I don't know, I couldn't explain to you guys the weight that I was feeling. I couldn't explain to you like my thoughts. Like, it was just not a good time. It was a really bad time, and I'm just thankful that I had that one person to get me through, because really bad. God knows what he's doing. I believe that God sends people into your life for whether it's a good reason or a bad reason, and thankfully this is a good reason. I'm certain that actually she was sent into my life the exact perfect timing. Not even kidding, a week before my huge crisis that I went through. I went through the toughest time ever my entire life. I wouldn't say I'm fully out of it yet. I hope I don't get that low again. Hoping that I feel lighter now, but I'm not 100% cured or happy or whatever. I don't think I'll ever be fully content, but who knows? God works in miraculous ways. But the bird that I'm going to be talking about is an owl. Now, how often have you guys seen an owl in person? Not on shows, movies. You can look up a photo of an owl. Like, I'm talking about like in the person. I remember when I was really, really little, we used to go camping up north, and one time there was some like nature show. Not a show, like not on TV, like a show in person. Like, you go to this place, right? And it's like a cabin looking place, and they were just, I don't know, talking about the area, all that. They had an owl. That was, I guess, the only time I've ever seen an owl in person in my entire life. You don't really think of owls all the time. You don't really, because owls, they are far away from everything. Like, you don't see them at, like, they're not gonna be in the middle of town. Like, you only see them at night. You don't really see them during the day, and if you have, well, that's awesome. But like, for the most part, owls are isolated and alone and lonely. You don't ever see them. So I don't remember the exact month, but last year sometime I was having a very difficult night. I think it was like in August. Okay, August is the first time. I'm pretty sure it's around that time, August, September-ish. I remember having a hard night. I was out in my car. That's where I hang out. And I was having just a difficult night talking to God about a lot of stuff. And as I was leaving my spot, I saw there was an owl on a sign. Mind you, I've been in this place for a year. I go to this certain spot, and I've never seen an owl there. But there was an owl sitting on the sign, and it like flew away. I started sobbing because I don't know why, but I just knew it was God. God was like, that was God. And then I looked up what an owl like could mean. Like, I'm like, there's something here. There's something here that I need to find out. And all I knew was an owl was like, you know, like, you're deserted, the owl's isolated, like loneliness, you know? So I'm just like, what? And at that time, I didn't really feel all that lonely. Like, I had a good support system. I know it's not their job. Some police officers would say it's their job. Some would say it's not. However, my town's PD is awfully nice to me, and I'm always thankful for that. And when I'm having a difficult night, like, and I'm talking about like a very difficult night where I'm thinking not so good thoughts, I will go up to them and talk, because talking helps me. And it's always at night when I go into a spiral or a crisis, and it's always at night, so like there's not a lot of like people aren't awake, you know, like, so at that time, like, I didn't really feel like alone like I do now, because we are going to be talking about loneliness and isolation and how it doesn't feel good, but there's always a blessing that comes through it. Well, then, was it a few days later, a week later, I spiraled and not doing the greatest, so I had a cop come up to me and we were talking whatever. All of a sudden, and I was crying, okay? All of a sudden, I see an owl, and I'm not even kidding. Both our cars are running. We're talking, right? We're making noise, whatever. This owl comes, swoops down right, and like in my eyesight, like I saw him, swoops down right over the police car, and I started sobbing again, because that to me was God. He's trying to tell me something or trying to bring me comfort through something. And again, at that point, I still didn't really feel like I feel alone, but it wasn't as intense because I knew I had some people. And I've always had support systems throughout my entire life, whether it was a school or a therapist or anybody. Mainly in high school, I had school as a major support system, and then I graduated and they were trying to help me find more support systems because they knew, yeah, it was really bad. And when I'm alone, I spiral even worse, so it's not good. So to me, I'm like, I always need somebody, which is kind of dangerous because not everybody's going to be available, and it sucks because sometimes I spiral more because of that. But anyways, I told the cop, I'm like, an owl just swooped right over your car. And he's like, I saw the shadow. Mind you, why would an owl swoop right in, like, we're talking, we're not being quiet. Like, to me, that was God, because an owl wouldn't do that, I feel like. Then months later, until this past week, I saw an owl again. And this time, again, having a hard night. Now, the owl keeps coming up when I'm having a hard night. That's not a coincidence. And I was driving while I was crying, and I was crashing out this night. This was actually last Saturday. I was crashing out, and it was just not a good night. And I'm driving in the middle of my town, by the way, and all of a sudden, I see this gigantic bird, brown bird. It was an owl, 100% fluffy, you could just tell. And he comes and swoops down in front of my car. I slammed on my brakes, mind you, because I gasped and I slammed on my brakes because that scared me. Hello? And I'm not even kidding. It goes and swoops right there. It's like flying. It's like wings out, not even flapping, just gliding and flying. And then I look over and he's flying with my car out back into the wilderness trees, whatever. Again, I start crying because I'm like, that is God. What the heck? Now, that third time of seeing an owl, besides when I was little, I decided to do a lot more research into it. I'm like, what is God trying to tell me? I'm trying to figure this out. God is trying to tell me something, and I don't know what it is, but now I need to figure it out, because how come owls are coming out of nowhere and swooping down in front of my car in the middle of town, mind you? That doesn't happen. Even my mom was shocked when I told her that. I came across a psalm. I love psalm. Psalm is very poetic. I write poems. I love poetry. God led me to Psalm 102:6, where it says, I am like an eagle owl, like a little owl among the ruins. Now, I had to look up like what this exactly meant, and this verse, and now I can say is that now I lost a really big support system. Well, I guess I kind of still have them, but I'm choosing not to reach out because of the thing that happened, and we're not going to get into it. And like, I have one friend, like I do have one friend that I hang out with, but like I don't have community or connection like I'm desiring. And yes, for the most part, I am all alone. And when I go through my spirals or my crisis, like I don't have anybody. I feel like I can't contact anybody because I don't want to be a burden, or B, it's just, it doesn't work out. I have my reasons, I'm just not gonna like share them. So yes, the last few months I have been feeling like since December, I've been feeling insanely alone. I have never felt this lonely in my entire life ever before. Even when you're walking with Christ, like I still, like I know God is with me, I know he is near, but it's also really difficult when you don't see that, and it's not like he can come down in the flesh and talk to you and hug you and hold you, you know. Like I promise you, if he could do that, I wouldn't need, and I'm not saying he's not enough, because he is enough. It's just, you know, the human flesh, our desires is human connection. The Bible does say it's not good for man to be alone. So it's just how we are. But if God would actually appear to us in the flesh, like I wouldn't, oh my Lanta, that would be healing for everybody. Everybody would love that. Like I'm not even, like everyone would love that, and no one would really need each other. However, God created us to have community, and I think that's why I desire it so much. But Psalm 102:6. This verse expresses feelings of loneliness and isolation. The psalmist compares himself to an owl in a deserted area, like an area where there's nothing and nobody. That's how alone he felt, and that's how alone I feel, even though I have people around me. Like I feel like I have nobody. And so since an owl, again, you don't really see owls, they're off by themselves in isolation, like he compares himself to an owl. And it symbolizes a deep sense of isolation and sorrow, reflecting a time of personal suffering and longing for comfort and companionship. 1,000% me right now. I am longing for comfort and for other people and just human connection, and I keep praying about it, and yet I don't know why, but nothing's coming up. So at that moment in time, I'm like, this is what God's been trying to tell me. Like it finally clicked, mind you, when I'm actually feeling incredibly alone. Like I said, like God has a plan. Like he painted this whole season of my life out, and he introduced me to owls and wanting to find it, and then I finally found what he was trying to have been telling me this whole time, and it's bringing me a lot of comfort. And so I decided to draw this little owl with the Psalm 106:2 on it, and at the bottom it says, even when you feel isolated like an owl, God sees you and he hears you. God knows where every single owl is in this exact moment in time. He knows, he sees where they are. Just like when there's an owl way off in the wilderness, into the forest alone, God knows where that owl is. Just like us, God knows where we are and what we're doing, and he sees us and he hears us. He knows everything about us. He knows like when we stand and when we rise and all that, like when we go to bed, like he knows everything. And it's really hard for us to even grasp that. There's like over 8 billion people in this world, and he knows us all. Crazy. So just like an owl, deserted, when we feel deserted and completely isolated and alone, we do have a God that sees us. We need to remember that we, even though it feels like it, are not alone, because we have a God who sees us and he hears us. And sometimes it can be incredibly difficult because we just want to hear the voice of God audibly, or we just want him to hold us. Like I wish so much for somebody just to hold me while I just sob and sob and sob, but I don't have anybody, which makes it very difficult. But the fact that I keep seeing owls, and that I came across this psalm and I go deeper into what it means, I wrote in my Bible, I even like did like a little owl drawing. The psalmist expresses deep despair, comparing himself to an owl living in a ruined place. And then my other note is, even when one feels isolated like an owl in the wilderness, God sees them and cares for them. And I'm finding comfort through that. And then the fourth time that I saw an owl, which was literally the other day, I was in a different town, but again, I was in the middle of town, and an owl, and you're probably like, man, like how do you tell it's an owl? Like this bird was huge. It was not a bald eagle. It was not a crow. This bird was huge. It was brown. It was fluffy. Like you could just tell it was feathers. of an owl. And also the shape of its head, you could just tell. Again, I'm driving in the middle of town and this owl comes out of nowhere. Again, swoops down from it, scares me, slam on my brakes because, guys, these birds are huge when they're like swooping right there. Swoops in, and I'm watching, I'm crying again. I'm crying, okay? Again, I was having a very difficult night this night, but this night I was feeling insanely alone. I had a lot of triggers, which resulted in me feeling insanely alone, and I felt incredibly alone. So then all of a sudden God sends an owl, swoop in front of my car, and I'm not even kidding, it's again gliding with my car. I'm watching it. It's literally, I'm not even kidding, guys. Like the last 2 times I see an owl, it's flying, gliding with my car. And then for like a few seconds, and then it goes off into wherever. Tell me that's not God. Like, you cannot tell me that's not God. It's 1000% God. And now I understand what God has been trying to tell me through an owl. Said owl is lonely and in a deserted area for the most time and isolated. And that's exactly how I've been feeling lately. And that God still sees me and he still hears me and he understands my loneliness and understands my feeling of being isolated and how it doesn't help me. I don't understand why I'm isolated right now, because he has seen me spiral into a complete panic attack because I'm alone and it is not good. But I am finding comfort in through an owl, and I think it's very sweet that God will do that to us. Like whether we pray, like again, I didn't pray to see an owl. Like I wasn't praying. I'm just noticing, why are these owls flying with my car? Why are they showing up when I'm having an insanely hard night? What is going on? And God led me to Psalm 102:6, and I think it's a very beautiful reminder that even when you're feeling lonely and isolated and you have nobody you can talk to, nobody to help you through a crisis moment or a moment that you're spiraling, or nobody to help you through a very dark night, or nobody to help you through like a panic attack, or even if you're just sobbing and you need someone to talk to but you don't have anybody, those are the moments where you can turn to Christ. And although I'm still learning this myself, because when I'm struggling, when I'm feel like I'm gonna spiral, or I am spiraling, or I'm like I'm gonna go into a crisis, or I am in a crisis, or I'm panicking, having a panic attack, or I'm just having a hard day, my first thought is I need to talk to somebody. My first thought's not, oh, let's go talk to God. Sometimes it is though. Like sometimes it's generally God I need to talk to. But most of the time, like it's our flesh, it's our human nature. We desire human connection. So my first thought is I need to talk to somebody about this. And I have certain people who I feel safe for. But it also sucks that because not everybody's going to be available for us. God will always be available for us. But not everybody is going to be available for us. So it kind of sucks when I'm spiraling and having a panic attack and I am just struggling, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to go talk to this person because this person's my safe person, and right? And you go, and then they don't answer, or they're busy, or, they're doing something. That doesn't feel good either. And it's not their fault. It's 1000% not their fault. It just sucks sometimes because you're in a state of crisis and you're like, I need somebody. And then I've gotten mad where I'm like, Lord, like, you knew this was gonna happen. Like, what happened? Like, why can't you created a timeline to where they weren't busy and and then I spiral some more, and then I go more into a panic attack, which doesn't help either. But if you take one thing out of this, is that even when there's nobody else available, even if you do have those people and they're just not available, Jesus is always available and you can always turn to him. And recently I had a thought, and that this thought was 1000% the Holy Spirit, because I'm a very negative person. I know that, and sometimes people don't want to be around me or talk to me because of that, and it sucks sometimes. But I'm trying my hardest. It's really hard because our brain is just naturally wired like that, and plus I have trauma to where my brain wired it even more. So it's really hard to get out of that spiral of negativity. However, I had a thought where, yes, I am incredibly alone. I do feel lonely. I am isolated most of the time. But what if this season is actually a blessing? It's just a blessing in disguise. What if this season is a blessing to where I'm insanely alone, so that couple of reasons. One, I have more time I can spend with God because I'm alone. And two, it gives me an opportunity to turn to God when nobody else is available. Mic dropped. Boom. That was really good, I think. Like I said, that was the Holy Spirit. Instead of looking at this, it's kind of funny because my church was actually talking about criticism and being negative, and how negative like is not good, and right, that we need to have like a positive outlook, and that the Bible tells us to be gratitude, and we're losing like thankfulness. And 1,000% me, like I lack gratitude like literally every day, not even kidding. There are some times where I thank the Lord for stuff, but like it's not often enough, and that's probably where our negativity and our like, you know, depression can come in to play. Not all the time, but like it can come into play. That's just your reminder that even though you feel alone and isolated, take this as a blessing and go spend more time in the Word. Go talk to God more. And if there's nobody else available, and like, you know, God again sends people to help us through certain times, if they're not available, go to God. I mean, go to God first. I'm gonna say go to God first. But like if they're not available, then you can always like continue to go to God and help him and pray for like peace and help him through and help you through that moment and all that. But this video's getting long. I'm trying not to make it long. I did create a poem. I create poems. I don't really tell anybody about it, or I don't really share them until recently. I made like in the past month and a half, made like 20 poems. Kid you, over 20 poems actually. I have so many poems that I could share, but I'm gonna share this one poem because it's based on this Psalm 102:6. Towards the end, you'll see it. Now, this poem's called Lonely. I can't help it but continuously see how lonely I am. I try not to compare how this is so unfair. I wish I was unaware. The feeling of this deep despair. I see others with people, whether it's just one person or a whole group of people. A community I wish I had. How I am so sad that my life is the most lonely it has ever been. No wonder my thoughts begin to spiral from deep within. I felt alone before, but it's over the top. Can it just stop? It has become too much. Losing my biggest supports, feeling like it's all falling apart. There is an ache in my heart. It wasn't supposed to be part of the plan. I should have ran. Maybe it wouldn't have gotten this bad. I go to work for just a few hours, and all I do is sit in my room in the gloom, alone with my dark thoughts. I'm gonna skip this part. But life changes, and that gets me. Will it always be this way? Will I always push people away because I think I'm better off alone? Will the Lord keep me in isolation? Will he bring a transformation? Where is my restoration? His word says it isn't good for man to be alone. So then why am I alone? I don't want to do this on my own. Someone help so that I don't get thrown. I am not okay. Please stay and show me the way. Does God understand being alone constantly is what makes me spiral? Does he know that I physically cannot be alone, and that is what leads to my freakouts? I'm drowning in my doubts. He does know. So then why does he allow it? I have been depending on him for so long. Does he think I've been in isolation long enough? This is rough. But just like an owl, sitting in that tree all by himself, in isolation, feeling abandoned. Feeling that deep despair, but one thing I can be sure of, even when I am lonely, the Lord sees me and he still cares for me. Just like how he sees the owl in isolation, he sees me in my isolation. I may not understand it now, but one day I hope I can look back and thank him for this season of life. So it kind of started out as a little negative and rough, but it ended up on a positive note. And I just want to remind you that just like God knows where every single owl is in this world and knows where they are, he sees you and he hears you just like that owl. So I really hope this video helped you in your season of loneliness, and I hope this brought comfort to you. And even though it's still gonna be hard, like I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, like I'm still gonna spiral a lot of the time because I'm alone, but I know that God is still with me and that he is still willing to come and help me, and he still sees me and he still cares for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.